Well, welcome back again to Not So Mid Major, where, as always, we are analyzing every single NHL team between now until NHL draft day and figuring out what are their draft picks for this year, what did they gain, what did they trade away, and what were those trades along the way. And as always, if you like these videos, please hit like, please hit subscribe. I haven't hit every single NHL team, and I still have about a week's worth of videos to still put up. So if your team hasn't been called up yet, it might be coming up. We may have already talked about it, so go look at those previous videos as well. And as you can already tell, we're going to be talking about the Seattle Kraken, the newest team in the NHL. So what are their draft picks for this year? Well, they have all of their own picks. They kept them all. They never traded them away. They also did gain a Winnipeg Jets and a Toronto Maple Leafs second round pick, as well as a Washington Capitals seventh round pick. So what were the trades made along the way? Well, there's a trade made with the Toronto Maple Leafs back on March 20th of 2022 in which the Toronto Maple Leafs received Mark Giordano, 50% of his contract was maintained, as well as Colin Blackwell. Seattle Kraken receiving a 2022 second round pick, 2023 second round pick, and a 2024 third round pick, all three of which are the Toronto Maple Leafs. So now let's just break it down. Let's first start off with the Kraken side of it because it was just a draft pick that I just want to briefly touch base on. With that 2022 second round pick, Nicholas Kakko. He's only played in the Finnish hockey leagues, played 8 games, 2.98 goals against average, 903 save percentage. And now the Toronto Maple Leafs receiving Colin Blackwell. Very interesting history, so I'm going to basically break down it all. Drafted in the 7th round, actually back in 2011 by the San Jose Sharks, but just stayed in the AHL with the San Jose Barracuda. He then left the Sharks and then participated in Buffalo Sabres rookie camp and actually signed with their AHL affiliate, the Rochester Americans. Actually didn't get an NHL contract until 2018 with the Nashville Predators. With the Predators, played 33 games, 3 goals, 7 assists, 10 points, 53 hits. He then went on to free agent and signed to the New York Rangers. With the Rangers, 47 games, 12 goals, 10 assists, 22 points. He was then selected by the Seattle Kraken in the 2021 expansion draft. With the Kraken, 39 games, 8 goals, 9 assists, 17 points, 57 hits. With the Toronto Maple Leafs after this trade, 19 games, 2 goals, 1 assist for 34 hits. He then after that signed with the Chicago Blackhawks. With the Blackhawks, 53 games, 2 goals, 8 assists, 10 points, 49 hits. And now talking about the captain that was traded away from the Seattle Kraken, Mark Giordano. He was undrafted and signed with the Calgary Flames back in 2004. With the Flames, played a total of 15 years, 949 games, second most in franchise history, 143 goals, 366 assists, which is sixth most in franchise, 509 points, ninth most in franchise, 1,746 blocks, and 1,013 hits. He was then selected by the Seattle Kraken back in 2021 in the expansion draft. He then was named captain for them. With the Seattle Kraken, just only played 55 games, scored 6 goals, 17 assists, 23 points, 98 blocks, and 46 hits. After this, traded to the Toronto Maple Leafs. With the Maple Leafs, played 98 games, 6 goals, 30 assists, 188 blocks, and 89 hits. And I guess this is just going to be where we're going to say it. Leave a comment down below. What do you think of that trade in terms of trading away your captain? I know you're a new team and I understand it, but it's very interesting that you would just all of a sudden just trade away your captain. But hey, maybe you do get some really good picks with these second and third rounds over the next couple of years, and we'll see how they develop, Seattle. So then now, how did the Seattle Kraken receive the Winnipeg Jets second round pick? Well, that was actually a trade made with the Washington Capitals back on July 28th of 2021, in which the Washington Capitals received Vitek Vanacek and the Seattle Kraken receiving the Winnipeg Jets' 2023 second round pick. So how did the Washington Capitals get that pick? Well, that was a trade made 2 years prior to this in which the Jets received Brendan Dillon and Capitals receiving 2 different second round draft picks. So now Vitek Vanacek. Well, he was actually drafted in the second round in 2014 by the Washington Capitals. He was actually selected by the Seattle Kraken in 2021 during the expansion draft, and then about a week later was traded back to the Capitals for this draft pick. With the Hershey Bears at the beginning of his career, played 142 games. His record as a goaltender, 71, 44, 16, and 11, 2.59 goals against average, 906 save percentage. He didn't get an NHL start until 2020, but with his total NHL career with the Washington Capitals, 79 games, 75 starts, 41, 22, and 10, 2.68 goals against average, 908 save percentage. After this, surprisingly, he was actually traded to the New Jersey Devils for a second and third round pick in 2022. With the New Jersey Devils, 52 games, 48 starts, 33-11-4 record, 2.45 goals against average, 911 save percentage. And now there's another trade that I want to briefly just talk about because it's kind of just interesting in terms of the fine details of it. But there was a trade made with the San Jose Sharks back on February 5th of 2023 in which the Seattle Kraken received Jakob Megna and the Sharks receiving a 2023 fourth round conditional pick. So why wasn't this mentioned in that first list? Well, that conditional pick was determined by the Seattle Kraken, which they get to decide whether or not they would just give the Sharks their own pick or the Colorado Avalanche's pick. As a result, Sharks will pick for the Avs in the fourth round. And now into the sixth round, where there was another trade with the Washington Capitals back on March 21st of 2022, in which the Seattle Kraken received Daniel Sprong, a 2022 fourth round pick, and a 2023 sixth round pick, both of which were the Washington Capitals. Washington Capitals receiving Marcus Johansson at 50% of his contract salary. Marcus Johansson actually has a pretty interesting NHL history. He was drafted in the first round in 2009 by the Washington Capitals. At first, he stayed with the Capitals for 7 years and then went to the New Jersey Devils and then to the Boston Bruins and then to the Buffalo Sabres and then to the Minnesota Wild and then to the Seattle Kraken and then back to the Washington Capitals and then back to the Minnesota Wild. In that trade from the Sabres to the Wild, it was actually a direct trade to get Eric Staal. Fun fact, Washington Capitals exchanged Johansson to the Wild for a third round pick in 2024. And Marcus Johansson's total NHL career expands over 13 years, 833 games, 163 goals, 290 assists, and 453 points. And before we talk about Daniel Sprong, let's first talk about that 2022 fourth round pick. Seattle Kraken selected Cole Spicer, who has played for the University of Minnesota Duluth for 32 games, 3 goals, 3 assists. And because I think it's funny just to say this, in 2019-2020, played for the Honey Baked 15U AAA, 63 games, 51 goals, 118 assists for 169 points. And now Daniel Sprong. Also pretty interesting NHL history. Drafted in the second round in 2015 by the Pittsburgh Penguins. With the Penguins, played 30 years, 42 games, 4 goals, 5 assists. He was then traded to the Anaheim Ducks in exchange for Marcus Paterson. With the Ducks, 2 years, 55 games, 15 goals, 6 assists. He was then actually traded to the Washington Capitals in exchange for Christian Djoos. He played with the Capitals for 2 years, 89 games, 21 goals, 13 assists. And now currently with the Seattle Kraken, 2 years, 82 games, 27 goals, 25 assists. And that is it for this one. And I will give Seattle Kraken a lot of compliments. They did not give away any of their draft picks, and then they did gain 3 along the way. So it's going to be very interesting to see who they pick this year and hopefully build the momentum of making the playoffs and keeping that going for their team. And also just to keep in mind, maybe come NHL draft day, they do make some trades that day just to kind of flip-flop some 4th or 5th round picks that just kind of commonly come up between all these different teams. So we will see if there's more trades to come. Maybe they do decide to trade away some of their current players as well. But until next time, please hit like, please hit subscribe. Like I said, I'm going to be talking about every single NHL team between now until NHL draft day. I've made a ton of videos, so go watch those, and there's a ton more to come, so stay tuned for those. So until next time, please stay safe and please stay healthy.